I remember the first commercial set where it really hit me. The size of the crew, the scale of the production, the expectations. And it was during that early morning meeting that I realized it hit me, that everyone was looking at me for direction. Here, let's get into it. It wasn't pressure in a negative way, but it was weight. This was one of my first commercials with bigger crew, bigger lighting implements, and a lot more ground to cover. And I remember thinking, this feels different. But first, some coffee. This wasn't theory anymore. We're prepped, we're ready. We did location scouts, but it was during that first big meeting for safety to get everyone on the same page. Producers spoke, first AD spoke, the director spoke, and then I had a quick little jaunt. And it was that feeling of, oh, I might be one of the younger people here on this set, but yet I need to give direction on where we gotta go with cameras, lighting, grip, and some props. These department heads are very talented, and it was one of the first times I got to work with various people who've been doing this for many, many years. And it's not trying to be bullheaded or put my foot down, but it is an opportunity for me to begin my taste, how I see things, and how I can build a network of people and structure with my crew, how I treat them, how I talk to them, calm, direct, clear, and encouraging, even if they're older and more experienced. This is an environment where I want to make sure everyone's having a good time and we're all on the same page. And one of the first setups of the day, I had a conversation with my gaffer. And it wasn't dramatic, but it was preference. But preference matters. This was an opportunity for me to tell him this is how I like to light these things. And although his ideas and his past experience is one thing, this is how we're going to go forward today. Let's get into it. He preferred to cross-light the subject. And to be fair, it's easy, it's efficient, and it does work. And it gives you a really nice hard edge off of someone's face if your key is over here. Also works well for framing. But for me, I prefer when the key and the edge light or hair light is coming from the same side. It's me trying to continue naturalistic stylings. It's me trying to lean into what I think feels real. The sun is only up in one place. So how do we get the sun from there to over here as well? But to me, I feel like you can cheat it a little bit better when the sun is up there and your key light's coming in this way. Your imagination can allow that to also be coming from back here. Or maybe the sun's back here and your key light is coming from here, which is what we normally do. And we did that a ton on the set. We're shooting at a zoo, so that requires us to be nimble, be able to move around quickly, and we can't point the camera everywhere. Otherwise, we're gonna have to be getting waivers signed off left and right. We need it to not be in anyone's way, but at the same time, we need to make sure we're getting the shots that we need. So we had to approach this with a fine balance of camera choice, lens choice, the depth of field we can get, and then also maybe stick towards a little bit longer lenses so you can narrow in who and what might be seen in the frame. We did go with the Alexa Mini package with the Master Primes, and those lenses wide open are still very tack sharp and have a really nice look. But it was one of my first times on set where me and the gaffer kind of butted heads, but not in an aggressive way, but just in an ideological way. And at the end of the day, we tried the look that I was going for, and he says, yeah, we can make that look. And to me, it looked great. And I appreciate that relationship. It was an opportunity for me to show that, hey, I didn't just get here by accident. I got here with a style, and I want the style to be continued on this set. Even when we're working within the boundaries of, hey, no 12 by 12 frames. Hey, it has to be minimal, and potentially sometimes even just with crew holding these frames. So that's when you gotta get real creative. Where's the sun gonna be? How to shape it in backlight. And of course, we're in a zoo. There's plenty of foliage. Use that to your advantage. Find ways to bounce light, even if you have to send a mirror further away. If you need to catch that sun, but it's 30 yards away, you can do that. Grab it over there, send it back in, and slow it down with something closer to the subject. There's plenty of ways to be creative using the environment. It definitely is one of them. Backlighting is always a good idea. And keeping the key and the edge light on the same side, to me, just feels a little bit more naturalistic. And all these beautiful frames would be no good if we couldn't figure out this one problem that arises early on set. Luckily, we had some backups, and here's a pro tip on how to be prepared if this happens to you. It was early in the day, and we had a few takes in, and then the unthinkable happened. Our Teradeks began to act a little funny. And if you've been in this industry any amount of time, you know that wireless video transmitters often can act up. And in this moment, it was sending a picture, but it was pixelated. It was as if I was playing Minecraft or One of the old Nintendo 64 games was very blocky and you couldn't see hardly anything. This was frustrating. We were trying all these different options on how to reset, retune, find different channels. Now we are in a zoo with some frequencies that could be crossing paths. We're nearby hospitals and these things can happen and we're losing time. And to me, in my young, early career, I thought, hey, this camera's working, my EVF, my 7-inch monitor, these are all looking great. Let's just go get the shots and watch playback. I was quickly humbled by the producer and the director saying, look homie, we got a Video Village tent full of agency people, plus myself, producers, the gaffer, anyone else who needs to get eyes on that monitor needs to be able to see a picture. We can't just go shoot and then watch playback. And here's the pro tip. For any production set you're on, bring a couple 100 feet of B&C. If you know you're gonna be in a small space and you know your camera's only gonna be in this room to that room, and that's only a 50-foot run, then bring 100 feet of cable. You never know if that 50-foot cable goes out or if you need to get a little bit further. The theory is, and what saved us, was that we had enough B&C or SDI cables on set to be able to run hard line to the Video Village tent, whether that be 75 feet away, 100 feet away, or even more, to be able to make sure they could see the image while we're troubleshooting this Teradek system. And in the case, it was one of those situations where the Teradek was not going to be able to be repaired. But early on, when the first problem arose and we tried some of the main things to get it reset, the second AC picked up his phone, called the rental house saying, we're having trouble with our Teradek. Can you send someone with a replacement? Then after lunch, when that rental house arrived and the new Teradeks were swapped in, we were good to go again. So pro tip, don't forget to bring plenty of B&C for whatever shoot you're doing. All right, back to it. That shoot day taught me two things. First, be clear about your creative decisions. And second, never offer just to shoot and we'll show you playback later. Offer solutions that protect the entire production. And the shoot wasn't to me about showing people that I can light. It was showing people that I can lead calmly, creatively, clearly. And when the crew can see my clear decisions, they get behind it and the whole set moves smoothly. If you want to see more of my work, you can check out stevensecgradhouse.com. Thanks for watching. Peace.